Howdy folks, I am going to attempt to make a build video of the E-Flite Beaver 25E. Alright, well I've dove right in, got the fuselage out of the package, and everything looks great. I've noticed that there's quite a bit of wrinkling along the coating of the plane, which I'm told is common for an ARF. I'm also told that I need to get a heat gun or a hobby iron to iron these out, neither of which I own currently. Customer service at Horizon told me I could try a hair dryer, so I'll probably try that first, see how it works, and give it a shot. If not, I'll have to go buy one of those. But I dove in and got the landing gear started, and already had some challenges with that. Get some light on the inside of the fuselage here. First of all, there's 4 socket head screws that go in to attach the landing gear to the inside of the fuselage. The inside screws went in, the 2 that are right next to each other here, went in really well. Super easy, threaded great, just a snap. The outside screws were extremely hard to get. Couldn't get the angle on them. I felt like I was cross-threading them. Tried. Finally got them the best I could, and they went in not very easily. Was really cranking down on it the whole way. So I hope they're not cross-threaded. It was the best I could get them. They are in there straight. I don't know why they went in so much harder than the inside two. But makes me a little hesitant to flip back and forth on a whim between floats and wheels with how difficult those went in and out. Speaking of wheels, I went ahead and upgraded the wheels on this airplane to the Dubro big wheels, the inflatables. These are the 5.5 inch. I just really don't care for the stock wheels that come with the plane. Also, the area that I'm going to be flying, it's a little rough, so I wanted as much cushion and clearance as I could get, and so I went with the Dubro big wheels. The challenge I had with that is the axle. The axle of the existing wheel will not work on the Dubro big wheels. So thankfully I have an Ace Hardware in town. Went down to Ace Hardware, took the wheel, took the landing gear with me, and the screw that you want is a 4mm socket head screw. It has to be 2 inches in length, and it works out perfectly. It fits the inside diameter of the wheel perfectly, and I didn't have to do any additional drilling to the strut here to get it through either. It just worked out great. So 4mm socket head screw, 2 inches, and couple nuts to secure it to the struts, and you'll be in business. As you can see, I preliminarily mounted the motor, and I say preliminarily because, again, I got kind of hung up here. The directions call for adding a spacer when you're installing the motor onto the plane. Well, the kit comes with 2 sizes of spacers. The one I have used is the 1/2 inch. There's also a 3/8 inch spacer as well. There's 4 of each, and it doesn't specify which one to use. So I went with the longer ones. I'll probably call their customer service in the morning just to double check before I get this Loctite and secured down all the way. But another little note there that I'll clarify as soon as I get a hold of customer service. So I got a number of tips from the internet on this plane, and one really good one came from another YouTube user, RGTHD007. He's got a couple really great Beaver videos. Be sure to check those out. One thing he did that I really liked was he did magnets here for the cowl, instead of doing screws, and I think it's a pretty easy solution to do. The one thing I didn't anticipate, however, is once you have a magnet here and then one on the cowl, it actually makes the cowl stick up or stick out farther past the motor shaft by this much. So my motor shaft now, it's not fully mounted yet, but I just test fitted it and it's really tight against the cowl. So I'm gonna have to put some sort of a extra spacer back here so that prop is not up against the cowl. So, you know, when you do these modifications like that, it always kind of throws a curveball down the line at you. So that's what I'm gonna work on next here. Okay, I've got the motor installed, and that went pretty well, except I had to cut some of my washers for the bottom, the spacers that I use, because with this battery compartment here, they just wouldn't fit on there. But got those cut and used 2 washers to space it, and got it centered and snug now, ready to go. Okay, so I've got everything secured here. I've got my speed control here secured. It's definitely not going anywhere. Got the wires out of the way. They're secured. Got my external BEC secured, and everything's all connected. Plugged it into the receiver just to make sure I've got my connections correct and the motor's going the right way. On the speed control, everything's looking good. Okay, you may have noticed that some of my components are not necessarily name brand here. This is an expensive airplane. About the only way I could really get into it is to go kind of a cheaper route on the accessories, and I've only been flying for about 3 or 4 years, but I've had really good success with this stuff. I'm using a Turnigy G32 770 kV motor. It's basically the identical motor to the E-Flite Power 32, less than half the cost. I've got a Hobby King 60 amp ESC and a Hobby King 7 amp external BEC. So you'll notice my components are a little bit different, but that's really about the only way I could get into this airplane. I just couldn't go top shelf on everything, just was over my budget. So hopefully it'll work out. I've had good success in the past, and hopefully it'll stay that way. So, alright, I've got the cutout work done on the dummy motor inside the cowl here. This piece is pretty much solid, and the directions require you to cut between the cylinders and cut a hole for the spinner to go for the prop, and also just for ventilation to your speed control and whatnot. So what I did is I just taped the inside there, got it centered exactly how I want it, taped the inside, and then just epoxied it in place, and it's all ready to go. Kind of a nice surprise in the model, it came with the optional float struts, so I wasn't aware that it actually had those included when I purchased it. So I purchased some additional float struts, but it's great it came with it, so I'll be able to return those and use these that came with the model instead.